Hi, in this tutorial I will show you how to create a more complete and real structure of a user interface. A real application, in fact, has a lot of masks. There are projects with hundreds and hundreds of masks, but we can't use the same approach we used before, that is a specific key like ESC and PRG to enter in each mask. So we have to do something different. In this exercise, we will create two new specific masks for the cooling and heating devices. And we will put them in the same group of the main mask. When masks are in the same group, when you press the key up and key down, you enter in the previous and the next mask of the same group. So from here, key down, key down, key down, and key up in the opposite direction. Now the question is, how is possible to put the new masks in the same group of this mask or in the other mask? The answer is where you drop the mask. So let's create a new mask, so normal mask. So in the previous exercise I told you to drop the mask anywhere except over an existing object. This time you must drop it over an existing object. So I will drop it over the main mask. The result is this. That is, it creates a new mask and places a connection. Okay, I place also another one. Well, so this is a new group. In this language is called loop of masks. And that's all as the first step. Now we can do what we have done in the previous exercise. That is, move the text and the field in the specific mask. So I will select these two objects, cut, paste here, select, cut, and paste here. So in the main mask there is only the status of the input, this mask only the status of the cooling devices, and here the status of the heating devices. Okay, like before, I prefer to change the name of the mask. So click the mask, properties, change to a good name like cooling or cooling devices as you prefer, and heating. Okay, check again, main mask, cooling, and heating. So now we can simulate and see the result. Okay, start the simulation. This is the main mask. Key, so this mask. Key down, enter this mask. Key down in the heating. Key down in the next mask. But since it is the last of the loop, it shows the first mask. Cooling, heating, room, cooling, heating, and key up. The same but in the opposite direction. Cooling, room, heating, cooling, so the other direction. Now you could have a question, where is written that the key up, key down change the mask? This is written somewhere. This is not a fixed behavior of key up, key down, but it is a predefined behavior. So this behavior is written in the field that you find in the top left corner. I will zoom. So when you create new masks, the system automatically places this field. So the B is not a text B, but it is a field like this. B. I told you that B reminds you that it is a Boolean field input. So in that field, the key up, we move here, the key up and key down, as you can see, execute the go to previous and go to next mask. So you can see that it is a predefined but not fixed. If you want, you can modify this code or write it somewhere else. Well, next part of the exercise regards the position of the mask or the order of the mask in the loop. For example, how is it possible to move the main mask from the first position of the loop in the middle position? Well, if you try to click here in the center of the mask and move, you see that the result is not what you probably expect. When you click the center of the mask, the result is you just move the mask in the grid, but the relative position is the same. After the cooling mask, there is this one. So someone use this feature to place the loop like this. Someone prefer to put the mask one beside the other instead of one below the other, or it could be convenient to make subgroups of masks in the same loop. Okay, now I will compact the masks. So the question was, how is possible to move masks in the same loop or different loops? So you have to click not the center of the mask, but this icon. So this time, if you click and you move, you see that appear a line with double arrows, and that is a pointer where the system will place the mask if you drop the mask there. For example, if you drop here at the beginning of the loop, it placed at the beginning of the loop. I try also with this, heating here. This is the first, cooling at the end. It works also with different loops. Click this and move in the other loop, or this one here. Okay. You notice that when you click, when you move the cursor in this icon, the cursor change shape. It becomes a picking hand, picking fingers. Okay. Well, this function works only with one mask. If you have to move more masks like this, doesn't work. Even if you click this icon, doesn't work like before. So the only way to move more than one mask is to change the connection. For example, I can click this and move in the other loop. Now I can move the masks and then disconnect this connection in this way. Okay, I will move back the two masks in the original loop, and this one alone here. Okay, another quick test. So this time, after the main mask, there is heating. Before there was cooling, now there is heating. In fact, let's check if this works. Key down. In fact, it moves from this mask to this one. After that, there should be cooling. Here is the cooling, okay, and so on. Well, now you know how to change the sequence of the mask or move masks between different loops. The last point regards say how to enter in a loop. Maybe that you with the last exercise, you expected that the key ask enter in the loop that is here, that is the first mask of the loop, instead of to enter in the middle of the loop main mask. So the way to make this automatic is to use a different statement. Before we used the go to mask, now we have to use the go to loop. Let's make the modification. So go back to the statement that we wrote before. Remember, click the background click the name of the key, or if the keyboard is visible in the terminal editor, you can just click the key, and then we can change this. So I will delete GoToMask, and I will use a different statement. Ctrl space, Go, so on, arrows, select GoToLoop, enter, open, Ctrl space. This time I will use the loops collector. Loops collector contains the name of all the loops. The loop object is this, the blue circle, blue, but you can change the color, of course, somewhere here. The names are loop 1, loop 2, and so on. In fact, if you select loops, here is loop 1, loop 2, and so on. Close, semicolon. So, GoToLoop, in short, correspond to a GoToMask. GoToMask, the first mask of the loop. In this case, the first mask of loop 1 is cooling. So I expect that this statement will show the cooling mask. So it shows the first mask of the loop. Well, I will do the same for the other key, that is the key PRG. Delete this, Ctrl space, Go, arrows, enter, open, Ctrl space, down, enter, dot, loop 2, close, semicolon, semicolon. Okay, like before, we can use a more meaningful name. Instead of loop 2, we can use loop set point, loop set points, or whatever else. In here, loop main or main mask, whatever else. As usual, you can see that it has automatically renamed all the reference to those objects in general. So I repeat again, GoToMask is a direct reference to a given mask. Before I use this, while the GoToLoop is a relative reference, that is the name of the first mask of the loop. Well, quick test. So what I expect is that the key asks go to loop main, that is cooling. So I expected to see the cooling mask. In fact, it works, of course. By key down, enter here, key down, enter here, and so on. Regarding the other loop, when you press down, up, seems that nothing happened, but really, when we press down, it goes to the next mask of this loop, but since it is the last, it enters in itself, in the same mask. In the slide, you can see some other details regarding the move field in the top left corner and other things. So in this exercise, we have seen how to create a loop of mask. I repeat that this concept, this object, is used in all applications. It's very typical to have loops with 10, 20, 30, 40 masks. For example, the alarm loop is very common to have more than 100 alarm masks. Sometimes we enter in the loop using a specific key, ask or PRG, alarm, and so on. Other times we have a menu mask with 4, 5, 10 entries. So when we select the name of the loop, we press enter and we enter in a specific menu. But we will see this in the next exercises using the project template project. Well, later on with the exercises, we will create other 3 or 4 loops, but for now is enough. So thank you for watching this tutorial.